Hi, thank you, Mr. Martell. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having the time to see me.
You're very welcome. So today we're going to be talking about our mediation strategy.
So, tell me again what mediation is.
Well, mediation is something that we can do instead of a trial, where we can come together and try and work out a solution without having to have a jury tell us what to do. I'll tell you first a little bit about what a mediation looks like.
Okay.
So you and Mrs. Martell and I will meet the other side with their attorney at a neutral location, and we'll all come together and we'll talk about what we want and what they want.
What kind of neutral location? What do you mean by that?
An office.
Okay.
So, and we'll all come together and we'll talk about what we want and what they want, and then we'll separate into different rooms.
Oh, could we do it in your office? Because I was more comfortable here than lots of other places.
Well, we can ask them if my office would work.
Okay.
So I'll talk about what we want, and then we'll split into separate rooms. And then a mediator, who is a lawyer, who knows what they're doing with mediations, will talk to our side, and then they'll talk to their side and help us reach a decision that's good for both of us. And it would be really great to work this out through mediation rather than go to trial for reasons that we will talk about.
Yeah, I really don't want to go to trial.
Can you tell me some more about not wanting to go to trial?
Well, I just think it would be really hard on my wife in particular, but it would just be hard on all of us. It's just so much more public. I don't like the idea of it.
I understand that, yeah. We will make the mediation work.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing that people usually ask me is, so how much can we get?
Yeah, well, obviously I want to know that too. What do you think?
Okay, well, we've got I'm going to look at my notes. We've got a few different claims going on that we think that we can bring against Simba. First is the unfair debt collection claim. And so there are some amounts that are associated with that. They get an automatic civil penalty of $2,000. So
that doesn't feel like enough though.
okay. Well, there will also be actual damages for your door. So when Mr. Johnson broke the hinges on the door, recovery for fixing the door will be part of this package.
What about for how hard it's been on my wife and my son?
So that is called intentional infliction of emotional distress, and there's still some more that we need your wife to do before we can bring a successful claim for that.
I don't want her to have to go into court.
I understand that. For us to make any headway on that in mediation as well, we'll need Mrs. Martell to keep the psychiatrist appointment.
She made the appointment.
Yeah, she told me that she made 4 appointments and has canceled all of them.
You know, this has just been really difficult for her. This is not the kind of thing that, I mean, it was hard. It's just evidence of how rough it was for her. You know, that this is something that's just, it's just been really hard. And
Oh, I understand, and it sounds terrible for Mrs. Martell. The thing is, the law has different elements that you have to meet, and part of it is going to be showing severe emotional distress. It's going to take a psychiatrist to tell us if she has that or not.
yeah, I guess I understand that.
So as part of the unfair debt collection, there's the automatic civil penalty of $2,000. We're guessing about $500 damage on your door, and then the amount that we don't know and that we will ask for is for compensatory damages for intentional infliction of emotional distress, and that's where we need her to see the psychiatrist.
So do you have any sense of like what's the range of how much that could be?
Well, Simba had to pay a penalty for doing the same thing before, and they paid it very quickly. They didn't want any publicity, and they paid $20,000. So I think that's a really good bar to start with.
Do you think it could go that high?
I think that $20,000 recovery would be likely here, because we know that they've paid $20,000 in the past to make it go away.
I almost hate to ask, but do you think we could go higher?
Well, we could ask for higher, but I think we need to talk about what you've been out of pocket and make some realistic expectations today, so we know what we're walking in there for.
But I mean, I think about as difficult as it's been on my wife, I don't know how you put a dollar figure to that.
I understand. And it's good we have this $20,000 number to work with to help us put a number to that.
Okay.
Because we know that that's what they've been willing to pay in the past.
So, are you saying you don't think we should ask her more than that?
I think that we should definitely ask for $20,000. And what we need to figure out today is what the lowest that you and Mrs. Martell will take.
Oh, okay. So let's, all right.
So let's keep going over the claims so we can make a total. So the RISA claim, it looks like you'll get the TV back, and I know that was one of your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't come with any money, but it does get you the television back.
Yeah, I mean, there's no replacing all those Ellen episodes she can't ever watch.
I understand. I like Ellen too. The other claims that we can bring against them, or that have been brought against them, are criminal trespass, felony larceny, and malicious destruction of property. So we don't get any money for those, but they are leverage. Simba will want the charges against Mr. Johnson to go away, so we can use that as part of our bargaining power.
Okay.
So if you look at all of the claims together, we're looking at $2,500 before asking for intentional infliction of emotional distress. So that's the number we're going to have to decide on today, what our bottom line is.
What do you think is the lowest that we should be okay with?
Well, the bottom line is completely up to you and Mrs. Martell. That's the number that you're willing to walk away from. So if they only offer you $5,000, is that enough? So the consideration is, do you want to go to trial?
So what number does it increase the chances of my wife having to go to trial?
Well, if you ask for 20 and they say we will only pay 5 and you say that's not good enough, then the settlement negotiations are over and we go to trial. And going to trial means that we do discovery, which means both sides have to trade information. We do depositions, which means Mrs. Martell will be in a room with me and with the other side's attorney, and we'll have to answer extensive questions. And then she'll have to testify at the trial in front of a jury. So there is a lot of emotional cost of going to a trial.
Yeah, we can't do that.
So,
we can't do that.
So that affects how much your bottom line is.
So do we get just one shot at this? Like we name a number, they name a number, and if those numbers don't work, then we're going to trial?
Well, we're going to go in with a high number, and they're going to go in with a low number, and the mediator will help us try and meet in the middle.
Okay.
To where both sides are happy.
So.
But one thing that we do have going for us here is that Simba doesn't want any publicity. Their company has been very adamant about keeping things out of the press. So we have a good possibility of settling and getting to a number that you want. We just need to establish what that is today.
Okay.
Another thing to think about is how much this will cost. If we take care of this in mediation, you'll receive money. If we go to trial and we lose, then you're out the attorney's fees. So you would still have to pay my office. And sometimes you would have to pay the attorney's fees for the other party as well.
Jeez, I'm sure they got expensive lawyers too.
It can build up. That's why I would really advise you to settle this case.
So, do you think it makes sense to try to come up with a number today for what we would say is the lowest we would accept?
I think we definitely need to come up with a number today that's the lowest you would accept.
And what if we don't come up with a way of settling?
Then we proceed to trial.
So that's it.
That's it. That's the next option. If we can't settle, then we go to trial.
Well, so if we go to trial, what do you think our chances of actually winning are?
I'd say with the unfair debt collection claim, that's at least 50-50. Whether she recovers for intentional infliction of emotional distress in front of a jury, that would be the biggest number that you could get. But also, it's not sure.
And then she would have to be.
She would have to testify, and they're going to bring up her history of mental illness and say that.
No, we can't do that. Well, they're going to try to make her look bad. That's not right.
They would try to make her look bad, and they would also try to make it seem like her problems were existing at the time that Mr. Johnson came to the house.
Well,
They would argue that he didn't cause any
that's
extra
ridiculous.
anxiety.
I mean, that's not even right. They would just do that.
I understand, but yes, they would.
So we gotta figure out a way to not put her through that. I can't do that to her.
Well, I would advise that we go in asking for more than 20,000, hope to get 20,000, and take less.
All right. Can you pause this for a second?